Happy Devils Friday. This is the Woo Report. The Woo Report. The Morning Woo Edition, episode 329. Titled, There Is No Offseason. As the Devils' 2022-23 season comes to an end at the hands of the Carolina Hurricanes last night in Raleigh at PNC Bank Arena. Devils losing in overtime on an unfortunate sequence play. Tatar passing back to Jonas Siegenthaler and that delay a game penalty. And then suddenly the Devils season's over. But there are a lot of things to be proud of, a lot of things to be hopeful for. The consensus from most Devils fans is our future is bright. And we were just so fortunate and so happy that this team beat the Rangers in 7 games, have improved so greatly, so much after what happened the season before and the previous seasons before, that officially the rebuild is over. The rebuild is over for the New Jersey Devils. Now it's, we don't rebuild, we reload. And there will be no offseason for Tom Fitzgerald. Tom Fitzgerald's going to have a few days, a few weeks to think about it. The NHL draft is coming up. The Devils do not have a first-round pick because that went towards the Timo Meier deal when the Devils got their big trade deadline prize in Timo Meier. But I just wish he just put that puck in the net last night. But anyway, I'm not going to harp on him. I think that right now the Devils are the talk of the league. They went as far as they could, outlasting the Boston Bruins, the New York Rangers, the Colorado Avalanche. I said before the season started in preseason that I thought that the Carolina Hurricanes would win the Stanley Cup. And to take the Hurricanes 5 games, in context, look, the Hurricanes are a much more experienced team than the New Jersey Devils. The Hurricanes are very well coached. The system was put in place years ago, and I thought Lindy Ruff did a decent job navigating this young team through all the obstacles, through all the BS. Obviously, the referees were not on the New Jersey Devils side for most of the series. I thought last night was fair, but they did miss a high sticking on Jesper Bratt. But these things happen. That's the human element of the game that you have to live with as a hockey fan and as a hockey player, that you got to figure it out. And the Hurricanes figured it out. They were simply the better team. Does not mean the Devils sucked. does not mean the Devils had a disappointment. John Marino, bloodied up 5 minutes prior, taking a puck to the face, went back out there for a penalty kill when one of your defensemen, Jonas Siegenthaler, is sitting in the box, obviously cannot be part of the kill, and here comes John Marino, all bloodied up, ready to go. John Marino is a hockey player. Got a text from his dad last night. John is okay. He's doing fine. He'll be okay. That's what's most important right now. Jack Hughes, Mike Morial at NHL.com, reported that Jack Hughes suffered an upper body injury. Was not sure if he can even play this game. Again, Jack Hughes, turning 22 on Sunday, is a hockey player. These are pillars of your team. And the grit that they showed. Timo Meier taking a cheap shot, in my opinion, from Jacob Trouba. Practically couldn't breathe. Was back for game 2 in this series. And, online, there's a lot of pointing fingers, naturally. Well, if Timo Meier could have scored that goal, or Jonas Siegenthaler, why did you have to do that? Or Sam Wu, why did you have to make all these predictions? If there's any pointing fingers, it's the National Hockey League and that Jacob Trouba hit, because I believe that kind of altered a bit the Carolina series, because Timo Meier did not play game 1. Game 2, he was just trying to get back. He didn't really get going until game 3 and game 4, and he was starting to get on fire. Give me fuel, give me fire. I love Timo Meier. And, also the Brat haters as well. Ramona Rice is right. Because at the end of the day, Brat, in last night's game, had a couple good passes, just the puck didn't go in the net. And, again, we can have debate, arguments over salary cap value, but the bottom line is Jesper Bratt is one of the pillars of this team, and that should be respected. But it really, and Peter Seaver's right, that Trouba hit really changed the way he played in round 2. And it's quite unfortunate that the way the rules are written are so vague with the National Hockey League. That was a shoulder-to-head hit. And I knew from then, even though the Devils had the lead in Game 7, I knew that was going to have an impact, just like how, if you remember, in 2001, when Ty Domi did that cheap shot on Scott Niedermayer, I still believe to this day that the Devils would have done much better against the Colorado Avalanche, because Niedermayer did come back. But if you remember and you look closely in that playoff run, that 2001 team, Niedermayer was not the same player. He was a shell of himself. He played well, but not the Scott Niedermayer going into his prime, if you remember that. And you know what? These things happen. They're the unfortunate part of the game. But I'll tell you, I know Timo Meier was classy by shaking hands, because that's what you're supposed to do at the end of the game when one team gets eliminated. But Jacob Trouba should pay the price from here on out for what he did. He knew what he did. I don't care if you honestly, that a shoulder to the head. And luckily, Timo Meier was wearing a face shield, and that was just a broken nose. It could have been a lot worse. But again, I don't want to harp on the Jacob Trouba, how I feel about that hit. But Tom Fitzgerald has a lot of decisions to make. the pipeline of Luke Hughes and Simon Nemitz, we're going to see in preseason how that dynamic duo pairing potentially, what that could do for the New Jersey Devils franchise. I was actually shocked, and I think a lot of people are very impressed with Luke Hughes. The talent level, the speed. He was poised. He made mistakes, but that's to be expected. The pairing of Marino and Hughes was phenomenal last night. Phenomenal last night. Ryan Graves, Damon Severson, will they be back? Most likely not. But maybe there will be an attempt. Salary cap, it's all about numbers. It's all about getting this team in a salary cap culture, which Jack Hughes, at the age of 20, signed that contract. And I think that's establishing a precedent with this team. The Timo Meyer and Jesper Bratt, they're going to have to negotiate. And if they're really in it for the money, we don't need you anymore. But they both should be respected by Tom Fitzgerald in negotiations and take in consideration their value at the same time. But it was kind of disappointing a little bit last night. Carolina Hurricanes, their fans, congratulations to them. Even though I don't like the Hurricanes. Little jealous, envy that they get to go to the Eastern Conference Finals. And they could very well win the Stanley Cup. It's wide open right now. But I felt that this series was going to determine who was going to win the Cup. And I'll tell you, Carolina Hurricanes, there's a lot to learn from how they beat the New Jersey Devils. They were aggressive. Their forecheck was relentless. It was disruptive. And they got great goaltending at times. Luke Hughes almost got that puck flipping off of Anderson in the end there. But again, there's a lot to talk about this offseason. Also, on a programming note, that there is no offseason, I'm just running preliminary numbers of this podcast. We did over 250,000 downloads from the first puck drop in preseason back in September till today. Over 250,000 downloads on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you get our podcasts, Spotify. Special thank you to our fans. A lot of questions of, are we going to do the Woo Report? What's the programming like? It's going to be different. It's going to be somewhat scaled back. But there will be no offseason with the Let's Go Devils podcast. It would be a shame if we just stopped and just went home for the summer. But the reality is we all live, breathe, and eat Devils hockey like no other. A podcast that started off as three Devils fans at a bar, it's not like you take a vacation from going to the bar talking Devils hockey. So, look, we learned a lot during the heart of the pandemic to talk about Devils hockey when there were 9.5 months of no Devils games. I think a few months of off-season, we'll have the draft. We'll have some combine stuff. We're going to have free agent frenzy that normally comes out July 1. I haven't even looked at the schedule yet. Also, we'll talk about the Eastern Conference Finals, Western Conference Finals, Stanley Cup, all hockey-related news. We'll talk stuff about our great state of New Jersey as well. a lot of shenanigans. Maybe we'll do some pop-up podcasts on location, maybe at American Whiskey during the summer, at Enzo's in beautiful Hackettstown, New Jersey as well, in the Mansfield section. We'll be doing all sorts of stuff during the summer, and we're going to be beefing up. This offseason, I told the guys, I told, the group that, we had a very successful season for the podcast. The big stage, the Let's Go Devils podcast big stage at American Whiskey was so successful during the playoffs that we've got things in the works with American Whiskey, which we wanted to do for Game 6. But we're going to have to put that on a temporary hold, recharge the batteries, and don't you worry. All we ask you, the New Jersey Devils fan and fans of the Let's Go Devils podcast, is to keep tuning in during the summer. Keep tuning in. Sometimes it's going to be hard because, in the summertime, we go on vacation. I'll be going on vacation. I'll be actually going to be out of pocket in August when I go to Alaska on vacation. But don't worry. There will be podcasts every day. That I can promise you, that we'll do our best to do that. And it's not easy when you're in the, NHL offseason. But we want to stay connected. And we've got numerous comments, DMs, private messages that everybody wants to come back for opening night next season. I just hope it doesn't fall on October 7th because I actually have a wedding to go to that I'm committed. That's Saturday, October 7th. Hopefully it's not on that day because if it is, Shorts guy is going to be at the controls, and I don't think he knows what he's doing. Peter Seifert, that's a great idea. I think you need to do a Woo Watches where you watch Scotty's movies picks. Reclaim your missed childhood. Very nice. I will pass the memo on to Scotty. Suka said there is no off season for Woo. Yeah. And Harris, look, the Flyers made some moves in their front office. I still, it's going to be time. It's going to be some time before the Flyers are good again. But right now, the Rangers are in limbo with their coaching. Lindy Ruff, will he come back? Is Andrew Brunette going to come back? Or is he going to take over? We don't know. Lots of things to talk about, but as the players and coaches are digesting this all, it's going to be interesting. Woo watching, says Peter Seifert. Hey, why don't we have movie night at American Whiskey, and we'll watch some of Scotty's dumb movies? I don't know. Why don't we watch some of the movies I like Goodfellas, Dumb and Dumber, Shawshank Redemption, Beverly Hills Ninja. We should have Beverly Hills Ninja night. Some really bad but great movies. Tommy Boy, anything Chris Farley I loved back in the day. But yeah, maybe a Sopranos night during the summer. Casino, that's right, Cornhole, Casino. Scarface, I haven't seen Scarface. But yeah, we could do that. Some fun stuff. Maybe we'll go to a Yankees game or a Mets game, during the off season. Maybe a Red Bulls game. I don't know. We could do all sorts of things during the off season and stay connected. Oh yeah, Gilmore. Has anybody seen Sally Jones? Beverly Hills Ninja reference. The one with Chris Rock and Chris Farley. It is a really funny movie. Now, my wife, Mrs. Wu, I actually made her watch that movie, and I got the biggest, stares, are you serious? I think it's a funny movie. You tell me. Beverly Hills Ninja, late 90s. Excellent movie. Movie night. Again, yeah, I mean, it would be kind of cool. It'd be kind of cool. Maybe we'll do it on the big stage, outside, if we pick a good weather summer day at American Whiskey. We'll try to get Grant Marshall there or Bruce Driver or somebody, just to come hang out. That's what it is. It's, three Devils fans at a bar, hanging out, all that stuff. And you know what? This is the beauty of social media. I didn't think of any of this stuff. It was you, the listener, that did. And that's why I want to stay connected with you this summer as we're coming up to the top of the hour, and I got to get my clothes on and, work clothes on and get to work. Durango Steve, Super Chat, says, live podcast from the beach in Wildwood Crest. That could be in the works. That could be in the works. This podcast travels, folks. We're not just, bolted to American Whiskey. We've done it at Stagehouse Tavern. We've done it at Enzo's. We've done it in the middle of a golf course in South Carolina when the pandemic started, if you remember, when I was going down to that whole Florida trip. Also, what about Cocoa Beach, Florida? The Sandbar Sports Grill, Andrew's Bar, the only bar that loves the Let's Go Devils podcast and Devils fans. And because there's no hockey out there, the other team's fans that live in Cocoa Beach, they have to suffer through our shenanigans because that's all they're going to get. New Jersey Devils hockey, because we rule the world. We always rule the world. Ramon says, Sam, I just knew that the Devils would win 3-2 last night. If only Timo could have just, here, I'll use a Tommy Boy reference. Just tap it in. Just tap it in. Just tap it, tap it, tap it. Just tap it in. Maybe Timo Meyer needs to be in a happy place like Happy Gilmore, if you remember that reference. When, was it Chubb? Is that the guy's name? The guy that, the one that played Apollo Creed. Carl Weathers played Apollo Creed in Rocky. Maybe we'll have a Rocky night. A Beefalytics night where we'll watch Rocky, movies. The possibilities are endless. But there is no off-season. There's absolutely no off-season. And then we're obviously going to cover the New Jersey Devils and what they're going to do to kind of, progress. Curtis Lazar, I'm looking forward to him next season. And, yeah. Yeah, Max, whoa. You just said Tommy Boy reference for tap it in. Just tap it in. Tappy, tappy, tappy. Yep. I did make a reference. Maybe I'll do a viral video of taking that Timo Meyer play and just, playing that in the background. Just tap it in. Just tap it in. Rocco says, still hurts knowing the season's over. I know, but you shouldn't let it hurt you. The reason why is next season is a continuation of this season. We just taken a 5-month break because this team is going to win the Stanley Cup sooner or later. And just enjoy the ride. You need to have a good, hard failure before you can have success. This was the Devils' hard failure, and it wasn't that bad. At least you didn't lose to the Rangers or Flyers, for crying out loud, or Toronto. You lost to a Carolina Hurricanes team that's really, the people that go to these games are all actually from New Jersey. Now I'm causing trouble. Now I'm trolling the Carolina fans. We call it South Jersey here on the podcast about Raleigh, North Carolina. My boy intern Rob, he just said, F it. Either we win or I go down to the ship representing New Jersey. We don't hide at home. And that's exactly what he did last night, representing you, the New Jersey Devils fans in that arena, in that environment. And I'll tell you, I'm proud of intern Rob. He did a great job. If anybody doesn't know intern Rob was our intern 20 years ago on some other stuff. And the name stuck. Now he's like corporate executive Rob at some big financial institution down in Raleigh, North Carolina. So proud of him how he went from a little intern to like some bigwig. But anyway, enough of that. I'm going to be late. The water cooler talk, if you want a little, because the Rangers fans may be poking at you today and be like, yeah, so how's your team doing? Anyway, we basically lost to the Hartford Whalers. Yep, Gilmore. We basically did, and you know what? Yeah, get season tickets again. Yeah. Well, I want to thank all those tuning in on here on the Morning Woo. There is no off season, let me tell you. There is no off season here. And because of that, I saved this from last night. I'm going to have this chocolate chip cookie against my wife's wishes, Mrs. Woo, because I deserve it. You know why? Because this is such a sweet season. Such a sweet season. And I'm going to have this cookie on. This is my breakfast when I go to work in about a couple minutes. And I want to say to all you Devils fans, before we go here on the Woo Report, Morning Woo edition, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. That's right. It's going to be okay. It's Devils fans against the world. The Devils exceeded everybody's expectations. JP says, love you, Sam. Thank you for the counseling session. Yes. Your mental health when it comes to the New Jersey Devils concerns me. So you got to keep it here on the Morning Woo as we get through this together on this fine Happy Devils Friday. And when I mean Happy Devils Friday, I really mean it's a Happy Devils Friday because it's only a matter of time, whether it's the Carolina Hurricanes or the rest of the league, we're about to kick your ass. That's all, folks. This is the Morning Woo on the Woo Report. Till next time, let's go Devils.